Over the years, I've conducted over 100 sales interviews, and I've been on the hiring committee that's decided whether or not to move a candidate forward. Needless to say, that means that I have had to sit through a number of truly unfortunate sales interviews. So today, I'm gonna share with you the 5 most frequent mistakes that I see people make in their sales interviews so that you avoid making them in yours. Hey, I'm Will, and if you're new here, I hope that you'll consider subscribing. I teach you something in sales, digital marketing, and entrepreneurship every single week that you didn't learn in school to take you from zero to self-starter. All right, so the first piece of advice I tell you of things not to do is to talk badly about your employer. I can't tell you the number of times I've sat in a sales interview and the candidate is just openly using it to vent about their current employer. To be honest, as your interviewer, no one really cares all that much. The only thing that your interviewer cares about is that you are here today wanting to apply for a job with their company. So this is not the time nor the space for you to go venting about your company. And even if you are venting about your company, do it in a classy way. Just mention how maybe the growth opportunities are not there and that you are looking for a new opportunity for you that might better fit the needs of what you are looking for in your work. The reason why this is a big red flag for sales interviewers is because they're thinking in their own head, what might this person say if they were to get the job and then not like it a year later? They would probably do the same thing that they're doing to me right now with their current employer. The second sales interview tip that I'd tell you to avoid not making is to not know your numbers. Look, if you put numbers on your resume, you have to know your numbers. Similarly, it means that you have to be able to clearly explain your quota. If you cannot work backwards and share exactly how you got to your quota or how you didn't get to your quota, then that will lead to some red flags with your interviewer. I've been in sales interviews before in which the candidate cannot speak to how many prospects they are typically talking to on a weekly basis or how much pipeline they are generating. If you can't talk to either of those numbers, then that means that you don't have a strong enough grasp of what a sales pipeline truly entails in order to meet your quota. And that means that you're gonna require way more coaching than I necessarily have capacity to give you. So it's really important for you to understand your numbers and understand how to measure the impact that you have had on the business that you are working for today. In the case where you haven't previously been a sales rep and you're just trying to get your first sales job, it's still important for you to have numbers on your resume. You have to have a clear way to communicate the value that you've provided to the organizations that you have been a part of. The third mistake I want you to avoid is being overly confident. Listen closely. You are not in the next round until you are literally in the next round. It's definitely a good thing for you to get your next interview on the calendar, but even that is not a sure thing and could get canceled. It's not until you are literally in that next interview that you have actually made it successfully to the next round of the sales interview process. A number of candidates that I've interviewed in the last few months have been overly confident in the way they think about themselves and how they're cruising through these sales interviews. They'll make statements that pretty much imply that they've assumed that they are already gonna get hired, like, I can't wait to start, when frankly, an offer hasn't even been extended to them yet. Don't get me wrong, it's important for you to be confident, but don't be overly confident. I've passed on candidates in the past who have been super bullish on their salesmanship because they claim to be a great salesman, and yet they can't even sell me on wanting to pass them through to the next round in the interview process. Before I head into the next mistake that I've seen people often make, if you're getting value out of this video, do me a favor and hit that like button below. The fourth thing that I've often seen with sales candidates that I've ended up passing on is not having a clear why as to why they are applying for the job that they are in the interview for. If the only reason that you can come up with for why you are at the job interview today is because you want to sell something new or a change of scenery, then you have to come up with a stronger reason. What I typically listen for as an interviewer is whether or not the candidate has actually done some detailed research and thought behind how their personal motivations align to what the company is doing. We don't want to hear from you if you just want a change of scenery, because that's often not good enough for having you stay at our company for many years. So to avoid making this mistake, the easiest thing to do is to do your research and really ask yourself if the company that you're interviewing for aligns with what you want in the next few years in your sales career. In the case where you can't come up with a clear reason, then you might want to take a step back and find a company or a product that actually motivates you as a sales professional. And the last thing that I want you to avoid making in your sales interview is not having questions at the end of the interview. Almost inevitably with every sales interview, you're going to have a few minutes at the end for you to ask ask the interviewer some key questions. It's important to remember that you're not just interviewing for the company, but also interviewing the company itself in assessing the fit as to whether or not they are a good opportunity for you. That means that when the interviewer asks you for whether or not you have any questions, it's a great opportunity for you to demonstrate that you have done your research as a candidate and that you are willing and ready to stand out from the rest of the pack. I can't tell you the number of times that somebody on my team or myself have been disappointed because a great candidate simply ends the interview on a low note, saying that they don't have any additional questions. Guys, it's not that hard to think about some strong starter questions. In fact, I'll share with you a few sample questions that might be useful for you to consider. One question you might ask is, do you have any reservations or concerns I can address for you in the time we have left? How do sales quotas get set and change over time with tenure at the company? What has been most impactful for your sales career in your time with the company? How does the company support professional development? What would you expect for a new person on the sales team to achieve in their first 90 days? I promise you, if you ask any 2 or 3 of the questions that I just shared with you, you will stand out from the rest of the candidates that your interviewer is interviewing. If you take away nothing else from today, I hope you'll remember these 2 things. The first one is, don't just stroll into your interview. Do your preparation and show that you've prepared to your interviewer. And that naturally leads us to our second takeaway, which is try to be thoughtful in your answers. It is way better for you to try and show that you're trying to give the best answer than to just be really curt or not really be specific in the responses that you're providing. Now I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments below if you've ever been guilty of making one of these sales interview bombing mistakes. I love hearing from you guys, and I try to read and respond to every single comment. If you got value out of this video, do me a favor and hit that like button below. Doing so helps show this video to more people that are preparing for their sales interviews like yourself. Also, consider subscribing if you want more sales, digital marketing, and entrepreneurship tips that you didn't learn in school to help take you from zero to self-starter. Lastly, you might enjoy my Sales Jumpstart Kit. I'll leave a link to that in the video description below. There you'll find more of my tips and tricks to help you get started in mastering sales. I'll see you guys in the next video, and while you wait for that one, check out these videos that YouTube thinks you might like.